started.
I haven't given you the
Times,
thumbs up yet.
sands are running.
Everybody who goes up there needs to pat that like fire. Not that sand through.
Okay, we're live.
You know, if people think we're going too long, they'd always get up and leave early. I mean, it's not your required.
Or like it. Maybe we put it at the podium. Maybe we put it at the podium where everybody can like.
You guys are starting some talk by doing this. I'm just telling
It's,
you.
the
And
sands
it's
are running,
live
guys.
meetings, and there are people are seeing this, and they're going to start saying, "What's going on?"
And you're live now.
Well, thank you. Call this meeting in order. I'll stand and face the flag for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call. Britton Luther.
Present.
R.J. Donovan.
Here.
Tim Yocum, I am here. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion that we approve minutes. Last meeting.
Second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Approval of claims.
Motion to approve claims.
Second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Approval of payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
Second motion to approve payroll.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Public comment. There is 2 public comment sessions in this meeting. Come up and address. Tell us who you are.
You are here, right?
Yeah. That mic, hopefully it's close enough everybody can hear you.
My name's Brad Lindsay, and I would like to ask the commissioners to look into an issue that I have at a piece of property in St. Bernice. There's a piece of undeveloped county road that's right on the west side of my property. It's 50 by close to 600 foot long. And the way it's designed on my property, I can hardly use it on the west side. And I just wonder, there's a lot more to it that I don't think I should be saying here on a public forum.
Okay.
Plus, there's an ordinance on this road that it's the only one in the county. And it's just undeveloped, and if we could set up a meeting to talk about it, because there's other people involved and I probably shouldn't be saying certain things. But it's an issue. And when I was investigating my issue, I've learned that there's other issues in the county. I'm not like the only person that has this, you know?
Yeah.
But if we could get some clarity and talk about it whenever I can with you guys.
After the meeting, could you write a little note out your name and address and stuff, and we'll get that contact information to our highway superintendent, and they can definitely come by and talk to you. Get start.
Okay, if that's a start,
Yeah.
but something needs to be done. I mean, just the way it is, well, I'd have to lay it out.
Right.
So what, I would need to talk to the superintendent?
Yeah, the highway superintendent, Mike Clark first,
I know Mike,
and then
because this is out around his area, St. Bernice, so.
he can contact us, and then we can go see what route we can, see what we can do about it.
Okay.
What the answer is.
Okay,
So,
all right.
we're here to help you. Let us know. Leave your information with the auditor or me or one of our other commissioners, and we'll get something done about it.
Okay.
Let's get you
I
some
sure
attention.
will. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have your email or your phone number, but we don't have your, I don't think we have an email address for you
Oh,
at this
okay.
point.
Okay. Give you my email address.
It'd be nice. If you
Yeah.
give what information you can, just makes it easier to get in contact.
Okay.
This is the second time Mr. Lindsay's contacted the commissioners. He did contact me some time ago about
Okay.
this same issue. I think it's the same issue anyway.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Anybody else under public comment? You got more comment at the end if you want it, but we're going to move on. We got, next one is tax sale properties, David and Eliza Porter. You want to come on up, one of you or both of you? However you want to do it. Explain what's going on. And
So my name is David Porter. My wife Eliza and my children are here. So we'd reached out to the commissioners. We recently bought the old hotel in Cayuga off of its owner. She lived in Texas and was getting elderly, sold that hotel to us. So we're kind of starting a business venture, a little bit of investment and some real estate improvements. We're also trying to bring some things to the community by taking these older buildings and maybe turning them into some business opportunities. So it was ironic, when I was in the courthouse, I was pulling the deeds, the tax deeds, from 2 other properties on Main Street of Cayuga, the old town hall, and then the building next to the bank. I think it was a Masonic hall, and then it was a restaurant. I was pulling those deeds. When I came out of the recorder's office, I came over here and saw the tax sale bulletin that was 6 days old. I'd missed the tax sale, saw that those properties were listed. So at that point, I reached out to ask if they sold. I was notified those properties did not sell. So I reached out to the commissioners saying that my wife and I would like to save on those properties. We have interest to buy. We were not familiar with the formalities of whether that was possible, so we made an offer that was substantially higher than the opening bid at a commissioner's sale, knowing that it might incur extra work on you folks. So I guess what we're asking is whether the commissioners would be willing to sell it to us direct, and if not, if it would be posted again for sale, we'd be happy to go at another commissioner's sale. Our intent, we have a bit of urgency because both of those buildings have roof damage and open windows. So the more water and wind that gets in those buildings, the harder it's going to be to save them. So that's our motivator for asking for the purchase opportunity, is so that we can take action and start to stabilize the buildings.
I don't think we really have a problem with any of this, but whatever John Spur says the process is, and I think
You've already offered it to the public, and the public didn't want it. So now they're here at a meeting saying they'll purchase it. I did forward you guys a statute after last meeting. If the price is above $1,000, there's a process you need to follow that involves the council. If the price is below $1,000, in the past what the commissioners have done is just made a resolution that they will give that property to them as tax-free as they can possibly do it. And then it's up to the purchaser to get the deed work done.
okay, and all the tax liability will be released from it.
To the extent you guys can. There's some taxes that you don't have authority to release, but you would release it to them as tax-free as you possibly could.
Okay, have you did any research on it to make sure?
I mean, I have heard from one of the members of the staff here that the delinquent property tax was high. I think one of them was up over $15,000 in back taxes. If the properties come with that liability, we may have to talk about whether we're still interested.
I'm not talking about the tax, I'm talking about other things on it. But could it be other
Yeah,
things on it?
I mean,
right?
we spoke about how we have no problem covering title search fees and any associated fees. I think our biggest concern is whether that big tax liability comes with it.
I would assume it would be wiped, because the commissioner's sale, all taxes are wiped anyway by the county to go to that sale. And like you said, you guys have offered, $500, and the starting bid was $125 or $150. So I would encourage the commissioners, or if we could tonight, as long as they're willing to, do the title work and take care of all that, if we could, and if John says we can, approve a sale of these for $500 a piece, and then write that resolution if we have to, and move this process.
You guys can certainly resolve to do that. And we'll
I don't-
sign anything that your attorney needs to sign.
I don't see no issue of doing it. I'm just worried if could there be any other tax liability you don't know what's on there from some other lien. I mean, is that
I've said
possible?
to them to research
Yeah,
that and
okay.
find out. You guys are just saying to the extent you can waive anything that the county's allowed to waive, you'll waive it.
And I mean, in terms of, it was on a tax deed that went delinquent, it sold on another tax sale, had another tax deed issued.
But I'm saying-
I think we know what we're getting into.
Okay. I'm just saying from a property standpoint, I want you to buy it for $500 and find out there's another lien on it from a different place, and now you're stuck with this lien.
We're willing to take the risk to try to save the building. We'll make that investment. If it comes up snake eyes, then we'll cry about it. But
I'm favorable toward this as well. I guess you are coming in with your eyes wide open, because we cannot waive water or sewer fees that not that they can't be waived, but it would be that entity that has to be able to do that type thing. And if there's other liens on that property, again, the county, you'll be encumbering those liens when you pay for the property. So are you making this contingent, your offer contingent upon a clear title?
I will speak with my attorney. I've got an appointment on Thursday to speak with him. I'll ask for his advice on that, but I'm sure when we draft the purchase offer, we may put a relief valve on it, that if something gets to a point where we can't handle it, that we'd want to probably give earnest money with the purchase offer, and if we have to back out.
What's your offer as of, you made an offer, I
We
understand.
offered $500 per parcel.
Okay. Would we want to proceed and put one of us as a point of contact with him to consummate this, assuming that everything is equal for the county and with a $500
Yeah.
purchase price?
I
I
would
think
be-
we can do that because this was already offered. This is
Yeah,
different than
We've
some
already
others.
offered it to the public, so you're
Yeah,
not moving.
I would,
I'd like to name one of us as a point of contact to work with him with a sale
I
price
would,
of $500.
I'd be happy to work with David on this and make sure this moves forward if you guys have no objections to it.
And as long as the county comes out $500 whole anyway on
Yeah.
it, I don't know that we have any, I don't have any objection anyway.
No,
And
I think it's a good
give you
thing for the
authority to work with him to be able to get this to that point.
Okay.
Forewarn you though, once we turn this over to you, you will possibly be accepting other obligations, not necessarily from the county, but from elsewhere. Eyes wide open.
We'll do our due diligence and try to find it before we get there.
Okay.
Yep, I'll touch base with you after the meeting then, David.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I hope you best of luck with something like this. I hope
Britt and
more
I
things
was
go.
up there one day, remember we was looking at that building, we thought, boy, that's got some good structure to it, you know, it was that had the big eaves in it and brick, the one right there on
The town hall.
yeah, I thought someone
Yeah.
ought to do something with
That's
that.
great bones.
I hope you do. I hope you're successful with this.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time. If you have no other needs from us, we've got finals to study for tomorrow, so I think we're going to excuse ourselves.
You look a little old for
Study.
high school,
I've
son.
heard the time can be a problem, so.
No, not tonight, we've got timers tonight.
If you want to reach out to me, I'll get back with you. after I
Yep,
see
sounds
you.
good, I'll touch base after tonight's meeting.
All right,
Best
appreciate
of
it.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to say, appreciate Liza coming. Liza is the one who designed our seal for the county.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I took
This
all
lady?
the limelight
Yes.
there.
Oh,
My
wow,
wife-
thank you.
my
And thank
wife
you for
did,
doing the paperwork and all that too.
She did go to Ball
I
State.
guess this is a
for,
return,
historic
kind of
preservation.
returning kind.
Yeah.
That's her forte.
Good fit.
I understand.
She was available.
Sure.
by
Thank
phone.
you.
Give me a call.
I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna move on to COVID Phase 3 grants to small business. Some people don't know what's going on, but the situation with that is there's $250,000, am I right on the amount of money? That was appropriated to be distributed to the original ones that applied for it the first time. And there's some debate coming up, or just some talk about other people getting involved, and I don't think that's a possibility. Is that true?
The letter of intent said to the original business.
Okay.
That's what stated in the letter of intent.
So that will be, did she say when that's going to be awarded?
You need to approve the ones that, you just need to approve it.
Okay.
Finish it up.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the COVID?
Well, there had to be two, I think, companies accepted from this that did not complete the Phase 3
Yeah,
COVID.
This is excluding them. You will have to.
So any
exclude
motion we
them.
have needs to exclude those
Yeah, it should,
Yes.
two.
so you can, yeah. Do you have
Now, if there's some other way that something can be, that is interrupted or legally, I have no thoughts on that.
do we have I don't have the name of the business in front of me, or can we just say to exclude the two businesses that,
They're not on the list anyway.
Yeah, they're not-
well, I mean, just, because I think, like Britton said, we've got to exclude them from the,
We may have that, I don't know.
Dixon County also, Dixon, and then,
I thought are you naming them?
Aunt Nanny.
I didn't know, I mean, we can, I didn't know if we have to, that's why I was asking.
Well, I think you have to, I think we should anyway, specifically.
That's okay. So we need a motion to approve the COVID phase, what is this? COVID phase, Phase 3? I don't know, we'll see if I get this motion right.
See, I didn't turn none of my stuff in for my business
Yeah.
involved in this. I passed up a lot of money
Yeah.
on that deal.
I'll make a motion to approve the COVID Phase 3 grant for small businesses, excluding Hickson Accounting, and
They're
any.
not even on the list.
Well, you have to. They did put in and filled out information, excluding Hickson Accounting and Nettie law firm.
I'll second the motion.
And just for clarification for anyone watching, this was for existing businesses only that had applied for the first grant, and the 2 businesses we made the motion to exclude did not apply for the first round, so therefore they were not eligible for the second round. Just like Tim's business or my business or anybody else's, we wouldn't be able to apply. Just so that's crystal clear for anybody watching.
Yeah, that list is public knowledge, right? So we'll put out who got X. The original amount was how much? So it's the same. They're getting the same amount again, right?
No, it'll be the 2 that had it before will not. Those monies would divide it up among the remaining businesses.
I'm saying the amount that was funded the first time was $250,000 to X amount, and we got $250,000, so it's going back the same amount again.
Except for there were some stipulations in the COVID grant that if a business shut down, you couldn't give them money again, and there was a few in Vermilion County that did shut down. So in theory, if they got say $6,500 in round 1, in this round they may get $7,000 or $72,000. You know, they're going to get a little bit more just due to the fact that
What you said was right, Tim, but the division will be different.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty good deal. A lot of people got pretty good on that.
Call for the vote. I did.
Brendan seconded it.
Call for the vote.
Yeah, call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. I'll still read the article. Anyway,
On to the next.
Doug Hess is here tonight.
Doug Hess, Economic Development. I think there's 2 items on the agenda tonight for me. The first one is regarding a contract for our copy machine. Back on May the 9th of 2018, we signed a contract for our copy machine to pay $112.33 a month for that. I believe it's in your packet. It's basically the exact same copier, but 2023 model, if you will, and it will go up from $112.33 a month to $125.37 a month.
This is excluding copies as well, right? You have to pay per cost, copy per cost.
If we go over.
There's a certain base to it.
Yes, so we get so many, I won't say free, it's built in. And then anything over that, if it's a color image, it's .055, and if it's black and white, it's .008 a page.
Have you compared this against the Toshiba contract that's already approved by the state?
Yes, we did.
And is this a state contract also?
I believe it is, but I could not say for sure. I believe it is though, but I need to go back and double check that.
Well, spend a considerable amount of time looking at the state contracts, and they're very favorable toward the county, and the conditions and terms and conditions are acceptable to the county. Some of these others are not. And who is this one through?
Gordon Flesh Company.
Flush, yeah.
I just
We
something to
need-
make copies.
I'm not necessarily in favor of approving this one tonight until we prove that we confirm that either it's a state contract. If it is, then that's
Fine, okay.
an acceptable means.
Fair enough.
But we've got caught, a number of these are getting caught on having to return them and costing, I mean, it becomes ridiculous.
How much time you got before you got to?
This says it's good for 30 days, but when the sales rep came in, he told us we could be pretty flexible with that, so.
The other thing with Toshiba, what we have arranged is that we can have it billed if we ever get to that point. We can actually have a spit out of whatever the county's doing. by going to all these different vendors at this point, we don't have control or even know what we're spending as far as the county goes. We can, but you have to sit there and add it all up.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just something makes copies and something I can scan and send things through, that's most important.
If you go with Toshiba, I'm gonna have no problem tonight with it, with
Okay.
Gordon Fleischer. We need to me anyway, we need to
Sure. That's
show
fine.
what it's doing.
Okay, we'll get back on, get with Britton on that, right?
Sure, yeah.
What about the updates?
Should be able to let you know tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah.
The updates?
The updates, several things. So, Economic Development has been working with the Fair Board and getting out sponsorship in regards to small business in the northern part of the county for the Small Business Saturday that's going to be held at the fair. I believe that's on June 10th. We've been, so the office has submitted 34 proposals since January for the RISE on the Indiana State ZPE property site. We had several responses back from the properties, but that's a constant work in session. CCS Construction reached out to us, and they are in the contract stage with the RISE about adding a project out there. We've also been working with Redevelopment Board on getting a county-wide early child education facility. We've had several discussions with some of the local businesses and respective leaders. That's a work in progress. We're meeting with the school board next Friday, June the 2nd. I believe that's what that Friday is. I believe it's at 2 o'clock. We're going to be looking at them, or working with them, looking at possibly leasing and or purchasing the Ernie Powell building, but nothing is set in stone. That's still just conversations at this point. So I want to be clear about that. That's just conversations. But we are looking at that. One of the things that we hear from a lot of not only current employers, but ones that we're talking about, obviously pay is a big issue and this and that, but one of the biggest things that they find is the biggest challenge is making sure that child care is provided. So we're trying to address that from a county-wide standpoint. Last month I attended the Oklahoma University Economic Development Training. So I have one more session to attend, and then I'll be certified for economic development through Oklahoma University. Annie just attended the Ball State 2023 Indiana Economic Development course this month up in Muncie. Annie and myself are also working with Christian Craig on the Main Street program. We have had some conversations with them. Annie will be attending a meeting on June the 15th over in Greencastle regarding that. That's through Okra with the state to make sure we get certified and all that good stuff. I cannot attend that meeting because I will be in Dallas, Texas, meeting with some site selectors through Indiana Power Partnership with Accelerate the 14th, 15th, to talk about some site selection stuff. But she'll be working with that, making sure that we get on board with the Main Street program. And then finally, I think a lot of people have already seen this, but we've launched our new brand, our branding image that went out, that is out there and has been officially released, and we're getting some very positive and favorable reviews on that. So just a quick summary of what we've been doing.
Anything
Yes.
legislative?
I'm sorry?
Anything new legislative wise? Since our last meeting anyway.
Stop and think about the last meeting, what we talked about. I wouldn't say there's anything new. I do know that we have received word from Senator Drury, who wants to just come in, and he's the new senator, as everybody knows. I think he wants to just come in and say hello, meet with people. He wants to hear from elected officials. He's timing that with the fair so he can be with his constituents. And I think he just wants to also let us know what he's been doing for us over there in Indianapolis. So that's positive. We're hoping to get something with Alan Morrison, but I have not heard anything back with that at this point.
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things
aboard.
I'm sorry?
Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would ask, the Cayuga project on the development up there, is there any way you can give me a rundown and where it's at and the financials and what's been spent on it? I've asked for that, but I don't think I was very clear in what I was asking, but I'd like to have an update on that.
Yeah, we can do that. Should be able to get that to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which Cayuga project?
The housing is
The
what I'm
housing,
assuming.
housing,
Yeah.
right? trying to figure out where that's going.
Yep, absolutely. Happy to do that.
We are having more interest in Vermillion County than normal in the past. And there's some positive things happening in the county as far as just business looking into us. And that's, people need to know that.
And some of it, I think, is just our being a little bit more aggressive in our marketing campaign and getting out there. I think some of it has been with our relationship that we're having with the state, economic development. So a lot of things, not just one particular thing, but I think there's several good things, and now we just got to grab a hold of one.
I noticed that the Rice hasn't been coming to any meetings. Are you representing them too when you come, give a report from them, or do we need to ask them for a separate report?
Well, I think that gets a little touchy.
Yeah.
I mean, we are obviously putting in reports for the RISE and helping them with the Indiana State ZPE property sites. Like I said, we've already put in 34, and we're putting 3 more today in terms of that. But I'm happy to talk to the RISE to see if they want us to give you a report. Happy to do that. Just want to be careful, not here to step on any toes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Sounds real good. Anybody got anything else, got questions for?
Thanks for the update.
All right, thank you guys.
We'll move on to the Vermillion County 2023 Community Crossing.
We have Clark Dietz had provided us with, well, eventually it'll be 3, but with 2 of the bids go out for quotes on the micro surfaces and the cape sealing. The third one yet to come out is the chip and seal and HMA for services, and so make a motion that we approve to send out for bid the 2 packages that we've received so far, the micro surfacing quote and the cape seal quote.
Second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed?
The third quote will hopefully be here by Friday. I was hoping we'd have it before today, but we haven't received it yet, for the third bid package, I mean.
Have you got an update on, I don't know if it's on this list or not, on the 2 bridges north? Where are we at in those 2 bridges?
Yeah, well, I do and I don't. White's been cleared to go ahead and start that work up there. I don't know if there's a miscommunication or something, because Brad Hill had called Mike, and that was, or not Mike, but I guess Colby, and was asking about what the status of it was. Mike did call Clark Dietz and asked him where that stood as far as everything's concerned, and everything's been signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just a matter of them starting to work. I'm wondering if there might have been some confusion with, we had sent out originally and had to retract it, a notice to proceed, and because of the timing of with NDOT and whatever, we had to retract that we couldn't issue it at that time. I'm just wondering if there's been maybe a misunderstanding or whatever with that, but anyway, that's being looked into today, and I don't have an answer yet.
I can
Why it's
talk
not
to
proceeding.
Hill, he's my neighbor.
Yeah.
I can talk to Hill and find out what's going on their side if you want me to.
Mike was in today, and I gave him an email that Brian sent us about the timing and stuff.
So they are proceeding?
Just today, yeah. I just gave it to him.
I think I'm not starting until fall now.
Yeah, it's not gonna, yeah, they said something about a delay and then, because of the construction, they're busy with their construction, so.
Yeah, it
So we're
was
still
supposed to
okay.
start in April, and we didn't get started.
We're okay with the funding on community
that's-
crossing. We got
that's-
probably a year to do that, don't we, at least?
As long as it's completed within a year, I guess, a year and a half, something like that, we're in good shape. As long as they do it this year, we're still.
What about the
well
other
within
bridge, the Wood
range.
Bridge?
Hmm?
What about the Wood Bridge?
It's been scheduled to be worked on here in the next, I think within the next month. The material, that was one of those deals where the materials were ordered in like November, and they were on back order for like 3 months from like Washington or like, I don't even know where. But yeah, all the materials are here, and the contractor is just waiting to work on it. I know they were going to do it early, but there was a deal where the pavement has to be peeled off the wooden bridge, and you can open it back up without the pavement being put back on it, but it's not recommended by Clark Dietz or the timber company, that you wait until hot mix, so it was more or less a spring project whenever they started opening up.
Who's doing that work?
Smith Excavating was scheduled to do that work for that. So
Was that bid out, or was that?
Is that Eric Smith?
yes, there was just a couple proposals put out, and he came in at the lowest proposal on that.
when
He
was-
does bridges?
when
That
was
type of
that
bridge?
done?
Yeah, last fall. I'd have to look back at the dates.
Trying to figure, was that put out on a bid, or was it out on a quote?
Proposal quote.
And how much was that? You remember
I'd
that?
have to look at my numbers. I want to say, without me looking at the emails or anything, I'd have to say 25,000 maybe. 25 to 30 would be my guess, because I think the materials were 20 or 21 for the materials. But again, I'd have to look back at. There's so many bridge culverts /
Well,
purchases.
Give us an update on that, it'd be kinda nice to know. I think we ought to
Do you
come
remember
out
bridge
with.
number on
Well, Bridge 90 is on 1450,
that?
so
Spring Tree.
yeah, maybe 37. Yeah, because Timber Bridge has got a different number. Yeah, maybe 37, maybe. Brendan might. Yeah, I could look
That's
back
right.
through emails. I don't have service now. I could look
I
at it
think we
now.
probably ought to give an update from the commissioners on both those bridges to the people, let them know.
Yeah,
where we're at.
1550. Well, it depends. Half the people on 1550 like it closed because people don't drive past it.
1450?
No, the timber one's on 1550. It's on the
Oh,
next.
it's a different one, okay.
Yeah, the timber ones, some of them don't mind it being closed because they no longer have traffic, and other ones it's very frustrating because they live next to it and they really want to cut across. So it's about 50-50, I would say, on the.
If we get an update and somewhere so people know what's going on. I
Yep,
think
we've
that'd be
updated
good.
them about monthly with most of the citizens up there, letting them know that the project is scheduled and is to be completed.
We're at our halfway mark.
Moving on, open issues DocuSign contract, how's that worked out?
We're ready to proceed with that if everybody's happy with the contract for that.
It's worked out good
It's
for
an
me.
annual contract, so if we're not
Not have
like
to
after
come
the
in and
first year.
sign, I can do it remotely. It's worked out good for me, not have to come in when stuff
Well, it's
gets
good for
done.
everybody. I mean, it's not just for commissioners, this is for the county.
Right.
And so there are going to be some restrictions so that not everybody's just running around. There'll be an administrator, I assume, and maybe Kylie will be that, but
Okay.
there'll be some protocols to follow. But yeah, it'll be advantage to the whole county, not just to the commissioners, it's
Right.
to us. And
Okay.
it will keep us from being potentially delinquent. I know whenever there's more than one commissioner out of the county at any time, it has caused us having to run around to corral the signatures and so forth.
So
on
this
deadlines.
is for roughly 500 signatures?
That's 20, what is
24.
it? 2,800, just a little bit over $2,800.
Yeah, but I'm talking about where it says quantity, is that the amount of,
Per envelope, so that says you can put as many documents in an envelope to get signed as you want, but every time, if you open a new envelope, then that's another envelope, you only have 500 things.
you're allowed 500 envelopes?
Yes.
And what is how do you, what's considered envelope after you get so many signatures, or it's
No, it's just the number of the documents you put in it. It's like putting it in a manila envelope, handing it to you, you go through and sign them all, then the next person goes through and signs them all. Just depends.
But that's
on-
one envelope, though.
Yeah,
It-
it's one of them. It
If
depends
we have
on-
20 signers on it, then 20 people can sign it, that's still one envelope.
Yeah.
Now, when you send out the next document and you start signatures again, that's a second envelope, so.
okay.
So if there's multiple things that you guys need to sign, I would scan them all in as one document, and you could go through and sign. So
But if
one
each
envelope-
week, if there's a new document each week, you could say you're going to use 4 envelopes a week.
Yeah,
That's what. So they recommend 500. Is that kind of the?
that's the lowest they could give us.
Sure.
And they said if we need more, they can change it.
And that's per year, per the
Yeah.
span of the year.
I have no objection.
So if we don't we don't use but 2 envelopes a year, then we may decide next year it's not worthwhile having, so.
Okay.
Anyway, I make a motion that we approve the DocuSign for the county and also to name the administrator as Kylie Yoakum as, to set the protocols and set up the training. There are training sessions that go along with this, and they can do it online, and they will come, I think, in person and do that as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or if they have in person, maybe a web. I don't know if it's a webinar or not. That wouldn't be in person then, would it? I was under the impression it'd be an in-person, but it may be just a webinar in a conference setting, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Kylie, you accept that obligation? Someone just told you you're Thank you, Britton. It'd be nice to ask too, you know.
I figured.
That's okay.
No better person.
Any other discussion on that? I think it's an asset we needed to attain, so.
For sure.
Any other discussion? Call for a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Moving on. Okay, schedule SBS portals, document scanning, recording, and library services. That's a Britton issue, isn't it, Britt?
Yeah, I guess. I've been in communication with SBS portals. I've asked her to provide a proposal as opposed to us just meeting and going through this again, but to send us with a common protocol and a common price, and I set up a number of different categories in which to put that in. Once I receive that, then I'll share that with you as to what those costs might be, and then from there they'll have what I'd like to do next is that they will have an open house, provide coffee and cake and whatever, but then each of the office holders can come down and pointedly ask what the issues are or how they can go about doing their business as far as this copying goes. I'd like to try to still get this underneath a county contract, if you will, instead of each individual office doing it. It also, I think, is important in that we are going to possibly, if we put this online, whether we're going to go to the cloud service, which I expect we will, or whether we'll go with our servers. I'm afraid it'll eat up our server space, but we'll make a decision at some point in time to do that. The cloud-based seems to be the best alternative to that at this point anyway. But each office holder will have a chance to talk to them, get comfortable with what can be done or not be done, and then we can look at that cost. But I think as a county we can do better than each individual running out and doing their own, or each individual office and department going out and doing their own thing. Plus we'll have an idea of where the documents are, as opposed to every time there's a change in department head or office holder. So that's in progress.
No discussion. Moving on to County Annex. Had a meeting last Friday with Mr. Graves, who's overseeing a project in Accra, I think that's her name. Talking about the changes, moving in the right direction. He has ordered the prints from them by email, and we need to end up signing the contract here so he can go ahead and get busy. So that's where we're at on that.
Has he met with Actuary yet to go over estimates as to what costs might
No,
be?
he's waiting for he's getting all the information together, and then we sign a contract of where he's going to be paid. Then he's going to proceed on to putting the stuff together.
We haven't signed a contract yet?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So
We've got it here today. You guys want to approve it? It's contract.
We're ready to sign it?
Yeah, I got it. You guys want it?
Is that for us to do tonight?
it's not on. It's on here, but it don't state that. I'd probably say we need it done as soon as possible. So if you don't feel comfortable
I have no objection approving this.
doing it tonight, then we need to make another meeting next couple of days to do it. You know, if you don't feel comfortable with it.
Well, we're by all rights, by the original schedule, we're supposed to be going out for pre-bid conferences today. So if we haven't, we need to do something.
I haven't no.
Well,
I have no issues approving this tonight.
I say I think there's some things that need to be addressed, and maybe do that as an add-on, but insurances and bonding and how we will work with him and how we'll work with the subcontractors to that.
That's fine.
I don't think that's addressed. I don't think it was addressed in
I don't think
that.
it is. I think you make a motion and probably add that to it or amend it to our liking.
Have you looked this over, John, or have you seen
Which
it?
one?
Construction manager as constructors, agreement?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't have a background in construction to the extent that it's legal, the legality of it is fine.
I say, let's get this approved. We've already agreed that he's gonna be our CMC, but for his protection and for the county's protection, we do need to get the insurances included in this. His
Right.
insurances and what the subcontractors are gonna do, and also what bonding is gonna be
Okay.
required. So
Sounds
I'll
good.
make a motion to approve the CMC, John Graves, as CMC, with the condition that we also have the insurances and bonding requirements settled, and since your point of contact, if you'll do that, that'd be part of that motion as well, that you'll take care of that, make
Right.
sure that's the county and he is
I
protected.
mean, we're in agreement with all these terms. There might just be some additional things on the insurance requirements and stuff like that we can work out.
Correct. Is
I'll,
there-
I'll second his motion.
This is a very good, reasonable offer. He's a very knowledgeable man. I think it fits his size of project. And some of you might or might not know, but we've also used some of the county people to come in, the county highway people to come in and help a little bit, so it's been a big help. And we'll continue to try to save as much money as we can. So I'll call it for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. You got 15 minutes. County Highway Organization, County Engineer, I had got a email the other day that we do have a scheduled call going on with LTAP, Park County, two other counties in the state that are using a shared engineer. And so I will keep you posted on that. I would like to see something put in the budget for that this year. So if it does get passed, you know, I mean, if it comes up later in the year, we'll already have the money set in there. It's probably like a minimum of $25,000 addition cost, and that's probably what our match is going to be. I'm just saying projected.
Do you know if the state still provides that county the $40,000, or is it, I assume it's a prorated, or is that a bad assumption?
I get an email every year.
But that's $40,000 for a year.
Yeah.
If we start in November, do we still get $40,000?
I could check on that. That's a good point.
I don't know if it's, I would assume it'd be a prorated
That would be
amount.
something that I will ask at that meeting. It's a
Yeah.
good time for me to ask that. But I'm just saying $25,000 is probably a pretty decent number. Two counties, 25 and 80, you know, that's $130,000 roughly. And I think
It's a big deal, but I just hope that they say, well, yeah, you can get the funding,
That's-
but starting January 1st of '24.
Yeah,
not
that's
this
a
year,
good
but something.
question I need to address. The other night, the council did approve the new highway superintendent, Mike Clark, funding and for that project, for that position, right? At $58,000.
And also approved the foreman increases in the foreman's salaries as well. That was part of that. There's a second part to that. Yes.
I thought it was, but I didn't ask for clarification at the meeting. I don't
I don't know if that happened. We can find out.
Well, you need to clarify that,
Yeah.
because it was part of that, there was part A and part B to that.
I'll clarify that with that.
But I said something at the meeting, our first goal was to do the first thing, and I think I don't know if they include the second part of it. We'll find out.
I'll clarify.
But I think it's a good thing to have those highway superintendents move up in pay where they are compensated better.
Not
County,
65 cents an hour more.
yeah, they make 79 cents more an hour to be a boss. That's not very much, not worth it. County Asset Management Plan, that's another one of your
It's
issues.
July, I think it's supposed to be, now I forgot. I don't know if it's June 1st or July 1st that they're supposed to have. I think it's July 1st when they're supposed to have that, the data gaps completed. After that, it should fall in place fairly quick, or our inquiries that we want to make can be posted, and what you may need to be thinking about though, because I think it's July 1st, but once it's in database, we need to be thinking on how do we want to prioritize, because there's a lot of different fields there, and how we want to prioritize these will dictate on how that asset management plan will look, and we need to be thinking on what are the conditions in which we're going to prioritize these roads, or prioritize the work. It's not just roads, it's going to be bridges and
When you went over,
roads
there was
and
some,
equipment. Huh?
there was some issues with it when you looked at it for its corrections, right?
Yeah, there's data gaps.
Okay.
That's what they're doing now, is in the process of filling those data gaps.
Okay. We're moving on to ARP monies allocations. The other night at the meeting, can you tell us, Brenda, what that was discussed and the change of how that's going to be handled?
It's going to go to the health insurance.
Go to what?
The health insurance is where that's gonna go, and then that frees up the health insurance money to be spent as needed.
The health insurance money is what?
It's a timeline factor. We have to have it submitted and applied for and done in 2024 and spent by 2026.
The understanding, Tim, is that because the monies need to be allocated in order to account for it in an easy manner for the county, it was placed into the health account. They're going to keep a line items open with that money available, and then the council is looking to the commissioners to make a recommendation to them as to how to prioritize whatever the remaining balance is in that, or the total amount. We've already spent some of it. So we, as commissioners, will recommend to them a prioritized list of how we'd like to see that money spent. The indication is that the council will approve that also. Now that it's gone into that health account, though, it's not a commissioner and council thing. It is actually just a council approval. If they put money into something, that's what they've done. But they've agreed, and there's an understanding between commissioners and council that we will make a recommendation and they will allocate the monies accordingly.
So how does it benefit us by doing that?
It benefits us because, oh, go ahead.
You don't have a timeline now, so instead of the three of us being crunched on time and trying to prioritize projects, whether it be courthouse renovation or fiber or the I-74 corridor, now we have, you can say unlimited time. We're no longer tied to 2026, 2025, and it's a lot better for accounting for the auditor's office, the county council. It's just a lot easier for everybody, and as Britton said, they've agreed to set in a separate line item, the $2 million, whatever's left, but they will look for us for guidance and recommendations.
I have no problem
Effectively,
with that.
we will now close out the ARP account as far as the federal government goes. So as soon as they do the paperwork, we'll be done with that, once they make the transfer.
2 years.
Okay, well,
And we're free to spend it the way
No,
the
we're free
council
now.
approves
Yeah.
it.
we can do that today for that matter.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's where we're going to have to, I don't know, I submitted a whole list of things, not that I like all of them, I don't. But I submitted all the different ideas that came up, that people mentioned and that I came up with. We need to set a time that we want to sit down and decide where that money is going to go.
I've made several mentions of people bring projects to us. I mean, if you want to do something in this county, bring projects to us.
Ghosts.
Possible.
It's a picture, Phil. I saw it fall.
Haunted house.
Yeah.
But we need to
Yeah.
get it down to whatever monies we have. There may be only one project or maybe 10 projects. I
So
don't know.
I talked about the $250,000 roughly for the new ambulance facility, and that comes up for funding that we're going to be looking at this year, hopefully. And that'd be a good place for someone to go.
I think Ready grants aren't coming up till next year, are they?
Yeah, it's going to be around the first year, I think, when it actually comes up.
And we may not want to use Ready grants. Did you find out whether it is $4 to 1?
Don't know yet.
80, actually
I got a meeting
2080.
with Greg Good coming up here for long. It's supposed to be the first part of July.
There
so-
are grants available, and I've got a list of them, but I've not had a chance to look at them. That may be more.
There's also a
favorable.
bunch of money coming back to health departments for health stuff too. So.
Right.
Anyway, we got roughly 2.3,
It's closer to 2. It's just a little over 2.
about $700,000 for the internet, and then $200,000 for the
Sure.
Yep.
yeah. So, okay, moving on. NDOT. Brett and I was at a state meeting here a while back, a couple weeks ago. The state has reevaluated their position on the Orange Bridge situation. They are applying to SHPA, State Indiana Historical Preservation people. I real question why 5 to 7 people can control so much of this issue. But the state is going back to them to get approval on a change of a guardrail, which will give the original width of the bridge back, and they plan on redoing the bridge and open it back up to its original width and status, and that's the plan where the state's going right now. However, in the future, there is some other possibilities that something else could come of it in the future, but right now that's the direction that the state's going. And I think it's commendable, and what needs to be said is the reason why they changed the direction is because of public comment. We had a couple meetings. We had 450 signatures, I believe it was, in this petition. We had our Congressman Sean calling about it. We had our senators calling about it. And so I just want to let the people know that their involvement of pushing back against this actually stopped that project. Originally, it was going to put 1-lane bridge there, and Fleischer's directional sign. That wasn't going to work. So we're moving in a different direction with the state. They will be having a public meeting here for long, and we'll let you know when that date's coming up. So that is a positive thing. Britt, do you have anything to add to that?
It's basically a 3-year reprieve, and then we'll have to have something reviewed by then.
Okay. Moving right along. ES contract and funding. It expires in August of 23. One of the good things about this, I'm going to say it while we're talking, the IT committee, Spur almost has that done as far as the new, what would you call it?
I emailed you a rough draft.
Okay, rough draft of their bylaws, or however you want to say there. And I talked to one of them tonight, and we're getting all their emails and all their contact information. I told them it'd be okay if they want to go and have a meeting, and then also I would like for them to come to some meeting in the future to introduce everybody, and so everybody knows who's on that committee. But this is going to a good committee that will be very beneficial to our county, providing a lot of expertise that we've never had. And I think we've got a tremendous group of sharp people that are very well informed and very well versed in this situation. So.
But we do have the EAS contract coming up.
Yeah.
Are you planning on the IT department?
Well, I just brought it up because we're talking about
Right.
information, so I'm not really meaning that contract is probably something we need to take care of, but anything else, they would be involved in. But
Anyway, has anybody spent any time on looking how we're going to address that? Because that contract, the money's run out. It doesn't expire,
money runs
but
out
the
in
money's run
August.
out in August sometime.
well, we need to get proposals from them to go the rest of the year or something.
Yeah, I think where I'm at with it, I think it'd be a task of the IT committee to look at different options. But for the short term, I think the commissioners, or at least my opinion, would be to get a proposal from EAS to finish out the rest of the year, because they do manage a lot of the systems, and I understand the council slashed that budget last year and said work with this. Well, that's tough to do when there's a lot of things to manage, and IT is not cheap for anybody. So my thought process is to get a proposal and then seek out an additional appropriation from the county council to fund the rest of the year with it. Because I think short gap, and I'm not sure the IT committee can come up with a quick resolution that quick. And maybe they can. I'm not sure. But that's where.
Yeah, we did have there were some issues there about when that was set up, wasn't there? About the time and amount and stuff like that. Well, they could look at that. Give us feedback on that. So. Anyway, keep that on our list because we got to deal with it.
We probably should have one of us do point of contact on that, to keep that in the forefront, because that's only 4 meetings away, I think. We only have 4 meetings left to make a decision there. 2 months, basically. Maybe another meeting, but
June, July, okay, yeah.
in August.
Because you have 2 meetings a month, so it'd be.
There may be a 5th meeting, depending on what date the contract expires, but basically we need to be moving
Yep.
on that, not
Okay.
just saying we're going to do something.
I can make a phone call on that, get something moving. We need to move on if we're on time. Board of Health, corner Eliana Union Hospital lease. How quick can you do that, Brett?
I was hoping to have the contract back from the hospital on the, what I call the annex anyway, across from Union Hospital. Right now, it's still favorable to look at the Board of Health, the coroner, and Ileana to share the space that's inside there. Whereas the county would take over the Ileana contract, and we would adjust their contract accordingly for whatever that value is, and I've got that value to whatever they're going to be using, so the contract will be adjusted accordingly. Board of Health looks like it'll be almost half the price of what they're paying now. They're paying 70 cents a square foot now per month, and it'll be down to 21 cents a square foot per month. There'll be some adjustment because of taking over Ileana's area, so it'll vary from the 21
So you don't have
cents.
the contract yet completed for us?
The contract is, well, we had a contract that they had provided, which was acceptable, but the person who prepared that is no longer, well, they passed along, and so they have a new attorney, and the new attorney, they're giving them a chance to look at that contract, revamp that contract, and we've not received what his changes may or may not be at this point. There was no showstoppers, there was no significant, well, there was, actually it was just a favorable contract before. Hopefully it still will be when we get the next one back from, there's no indication that it'll be any different.
I think it's a very good project you've done there, and it's a very wise decision that's been made, and putting them in that building, and it make a better access, saves money, and
It allows the
Good
coroner to have an office as well, plus may take care of some of the communication problems, and that we can provide a receptionist to the coroner.
by next meeting you'll have final contract on it.
Well, soon, I'm ready to do
Okay.
things here. I got a meeting with EAS and with ICS, about the movement of their computers and the network and communications. I don't know, tomorrow maybe, this week anyway.
Moving on to budget, what's the deadline on the budget this year?
June 23rd, for you guys, the week before.
Well, makes sense.
And we've all got some assignments, to go over and stuff, so.
I need to recheck my assignments, okay.
So, there's that back.
Going on, we're trying to make this work. Traveling Vietnam War, be June the 9th to 11th, time 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. the IP International Paper Family Park. I've signed up to work on that on a Saturday afternoon. Encourage you all to do it. My brother is a Vietnam veteran, and if anyone could help on that, get a hold of.
They need a lot of help, all the way from the now until, and tear down afterwards. So
Yes.
it even goes beyond the 11th. So Becky is really pushing for assistance on this.
Yeah.
Becky
so
Holbrook.
anybody could help, I'd appreciate it. Moving on, the IT committee, we sent out some information to them. We are in the process of, they'll probably having their first meeting here for long. Bart Mooney is one of the IT people. Appreciate him volunteering for that board. So as soon as they can get together, I think we need to start getting questions together that we want to provide to them, that give them something to work on. The last thing I have here is I've been in contact with Eric from the Soil Water District and with the water well testing. I mentioned something last meeting, and Eric called me and did some research on it, and I have some information. Private wells and water testing is very important in our county and our community, and a lot of people don't understand how important it is, and in fact the health effects that when you do not monitor some of these things, it can affect our children, and it's got some long-term effects. So I'll read something real quick here. Vermilion County Drinking Water Assessment. This is from Eric from the Soil Water. In 2011, Vermilion County Soil and Water Conservative District launched a private well water testing initiative for residents of Vermilion County. Over the last 12 years, over 200 wells have been tested, and at least once for contaminants such as E. coli bacteria, nitrates, arsenic, copper, and lead. Many of those wells were flagged for various issues through guidance to the Soil and Water Conservative District staff and rectified. Testing data is sent to the homeowner on a confidential basis and is not shared with any other entity. This has been a successful endeavor, but there are many households in Vermilion County that have not been tested. Additionally, this service does not include homes serviced by municipality water companies who test their water for nitrates and bacteria on a routine basis. These homes would benefit from the metal, lead, and copper testing. And people don't realize that. One issue is that water provides you for drinking goes through a lot of testing, and I managed water companies for over 25 years, and I think you're probably safer drinking the water you get that's been tested more than probably than bottled water, to be truthful. But the situation we have is with wells, the contamination of E. coli and the different things that get in wells is a very dangerous thing, and I would like to see us start this project, and Eric's been starting to help work with me and me work with him to try to get a program going where we test every well in the entire county. And it won't be mandatory, but I think that going after things like that affect the future of kids is very, very important. And like I said, I know someone that their child died from a well, and I know that maybe that could be prevented by some of this. And the wells are different testing wise. Some people think since you're on municipal water, your water is okay. Well, it is coming to your house, it probably is. But what happens after it gets into your house, many times people don't realize what happens. And what happens is in your water system, these older houses have lead and copper joints and are constructed back in 30, 40, 50s. And newer houses are not affected that much. But a lot of these older houses still have lead and copper in them. And what happens is when water sets in that overnight, it reacts with that lead. And then when you drink it in the morning, it's actually there. And copper also. So, and in the municipalities, as far as I manage, and I know I've managed one company for 25 years, and usually the testing of 850 customers, there was about 20 tests made. So there's the covering all those people is not being done. And we'd like to get in our county be very proactive in sampling every well we can, and sample every personal house, even if you're on public water. There's still risks there involved and things that most people don't know exist. And so we're going to try to do a drive here to make people aware of these issues, and I think it will be very successful. And I think we as a county could be an example for other counties in doing this. County drinking water data, according to Vermilion County Assessor's Office, there are approximately 1,440 residential partials that have active private wells. To the date, only 14% of those wells have been tested through Soil and Water Conservative District. That's not saying that they haven't been tested elsewise, but this is the data they have. Also, there are approximately 4,600 homes that are serviced through one or many municipality water companies in the county. Those numbers were collected personally by reaching out to each water company for the number of customers, and no other data has been collected or shared. Funds must be secured for private well testing and home service for municipal water companies to ensure residents have clean, safe drinking water. I think that when we get done with this and do a total evaluation, I think as far as money, the ARP money spent on that extra testing is there's no value you can put on it. And to help people with possible issues that they don't know exist. And when you think about some of the stuff, copper, lead especially, affects the development of kids. And that's something we really need to be aware of and do all we can to make the public aware of these issues.
Is Soil and Water at the fairgrounds this year testing wells?
Yes.
So everybody could do that for free right now.
Right. We're talking about a large endeavor here, and it's a very positive thing for a community. And I'm going to talk with the Board of Health and see if they're going to partner with us. I think could be another one to help. So that's all I have right now. Unless someone else got anything else they want to add to this.
Motion to adjourn.
Real quick before we motion to adjourn, I know we're pressed time.
See, I tried
Time's
to.
out.
I know. On the
It drops.
COVID phase 3, I did want to thank Annie Wickens with Economic Development. She hand delivered a lot of the COVID packets. Brenda called me, and I'd done most of the north end. Unfortunately, I did not know some of those businesses in the southern end of the county, and I think Annie went and took care of all that. So I just wanted to thank her. I'd be remiss if I didn't say thanks for that. So anyway, I'll second your motion to adjourn now if there's nothing else.
Any other discussion?
You could have comment.
Any other discussion?
Call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you for
Didn't do too
attending.
bad.
And in 3 years, I think this is the quickest commissioners meeting I think
I've
we've
tried
had.
to keep you guys going, but somebody just kept dragging it out.
I know.